Muslims in U.S. are terrified after what pissed-off sheriff just gave people permission to do. Following a series of terror attacks overseas and knowing that there are droves of Muslim refugees in America capable of the same thing we've seen in Europe, one pissed-off sheriff isn't messing around anymore. Putting it bluntly and getting right to the point, he gave everyone in his state permission to do what no head of law enforcement ever has before. It was effective too, since Muslims can't get out of there fast enough, fearing for their lives more than Americans are afraid for their own now. Refugees who happen to land in Louisiana are probably wishing that they had been put in just about any other state in the nation after what a notable sheriff-turned-state congressman just announced. Representative Clay Higgins isn't one to tiptoe around terrorism like liberals tend to, and has a much better way of dealing with the problem than leftists. While liberals like pop singer Katy Perry believe that the only way to stop the senseless bloodshed is to just unite and love on each other and no barriers, no borders, we all need to just coexist, Higgins has an entirely opposite idea that people like Perry and Muslims alike aren't too happy with. It's doubtful that Perry or other idiot leftists will go up to a Muslim and love on or hug them at random and actually believe this would prevent them from detonating a suicide vest bomb. However, Higgins' solution would certainly solve the terrorism problem. Conservative Tribune reports. Prep. Higgins' approach to the problem can be best summed up in 3 words: kill them all. Higgins is a former lawman who, according to the Washington Post, earned the moniker Cajun John Wayne for a series of viral videos targeted at criminals his department was pursuing. He may have moved to Washington this past January as the representative from Louisiana's 3rd Congressional District, but a Facebook post he made after the London Bridge attack shows he clearly still has a bit of Louisiana lawman left in him. This pissed-off patriot let it trip and was now viral social media post that's gloriously non-politically correct. The free world, all of Christendom, is at war with Islamic horror. Not one penny of American treasure should be granted to any nation who harbors these heathen animals. Not a single radicalized Islamic suspect should be granted any measure of quarter. Their intended entry to the American homeland should be summarily denied. Every conceivable measure should be engaged to hunt them down. Hunt them, identity them, and kill them. Kill them all. For the sake of all that is good and righteous. Kill them all. Captain Clay Higgins. Finally, someone has come out and given an assertive directive Americans have been desperate to hear for 8 years. With the new sheriff in town, this former sheriff is empowered to give blind advice like this rather than apologies. While it may seem like an impossibility to cleanse the country of Islam, it's a lot more feasible than loving terrorists out of committing acts of terror. More importantly, it's sending a message that Americans aren't the ones who should run and hide and live like victims, it's Muslims who need to be afraid. They don't run this show anymore. There is no way to meet those who desire your death or your submission halfway, the Conservative Tribune's report continued. Say what you will about Higgins' remarks, they're a lot more realistic than anything we've heard from the left. England hasn't experienced an onslaught of terrorist attacks because of a lack of love for Muslims. In fact, by that liberal logic, Europe should be void of terrorism altogether, considering how welcoming they've been of droves of displaced Muslims from terrorist-tied countries. Instead, their welcoming in of all these Islamists has just proved Muslims don't intend to or want to coexist. They only plan to kill those who don't live like them.